G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/legal advice video. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Our first post is by user SnowTroubled111, titled, Lady wants me to pay her medical bill or she'll sue. To start off, my husband owns our home, if that matters. We've received a bit of snow lately, which needed to be shoveled. I shoveled the sidewalk in front of my house, my driveway, and the stairs leading to my door. I also laid down ice melt. I ordered a lot for Christmas, and I wanted to make sure the postal services had a clear, safe path to my door. So, I heard this lady screaming outside my house the other day. I went out to see what was going on, and found her in the middle of my yard on the ground, covered in snow. It was clear that she had walked across the yard, ignoring the path I shoveled, and fell. She starts claiming she slipped, and now her ankle and leg are busted. I tell her I'll call 911 for an ambulance, but she begs me not to because she can't afford it. So, I ask if she wants me to take her. She tells me no, she'll take herself. She tells me she's just going door to door looking for donations for families in need this season, and how it's ruined now. I really didn't feel bad and offered her my children's coats from last season and some canned goods. She declined, limped to her car, and left. She refused to let me help her at all. So I get a letter this morning from this lady. It's a handwritten letter that states, paraphrased because it was a very long letter, that I'm required to pay the medical bill for the slip she had on my property, that I was an irresponsible homeowner and didn't properly ensure visitors' safety by shoveling my yard. She concludes her ramblings by demanding $11,000 for the medical bill, or she will take me to court and demand $50,000 for the medical bill, emotional distress, and fees. I'm unsure how to handle this. It feels like extortion to me, but at the same time going to court is an expense that will really hurt my family right now if she isn't bluffing. My husband thinks we should just blow her off. I think that would be unwise. Edit, located in Utah. Do you have homeowners insurance? If you do, you should contact an adjuster and let them deal with her. There was an article a few years back about a group of people who were running a scam. They were falling on people's properties, claiming that they were soliciting donations. They claimed bogus injuries and were demanding payments. I would suggest a Google search of this person who's claiming that you owe them money now. Definitely don't ignore her, and definitely contact the professionals. Good luck. We do have insurance, and I'll do that Google search. I didn't even think of that. Thanks. As a residential adjuster, I disagree with the above advice. OP, my suggestion is to get out in front of this by contacting the legal team with your carrier's claims department. Preemptive measures in this regard are essential. Check your insurance policy. You may have a duty to report possible liability claims in a timely manner. Assuming you have liability coverage, most homeowners and renters policies do. If she does sue, your insurance company will defend you. If she does win, your insurance company will pay the judgment. Definitely a scam, made even more so by the handwritten letter demanding money. If this was legit, that letter would have come from an actual lawyer, typed on letterhead. Also, you don't mention where you are, edit they did. Many locales have permitting processes needed to solicit door to door. Also, what is the legality of someone you have not requested coming on not only your property, but walking across your lawn? Again, laws vary by location. I live in Utah. Gotcha. Before you get that stupid bot posting, you should update your original post. I would also look into the legality of door-to-door solicitation, not only in your state, but also your town/city. Many towns have ordinances against it. If your town and city does, and on the very off chance this person turns out to be legit, being able to tell them that the only way for them to get any money is to claim that they were actively breaking the law will be enough to shut them up. Me being the jerk that I am, would also consider getting a lawyer friend to draft a letter asking for money for damages done to the lawn when she walked and then fell on it. Thanks for the advice, I really enjoyed the last bit. You're quite welcome. Good luck. Oftentimes, the threat of some legal revenue is enough to scare these scammers away. They're just looking for an easy handout, which many will give just to avoid the possibility of a confrontation. That isn't me. And Not a Host says, she'll have a tough time arguing emotional distress and anything past the bills she's originally asking for. Keep that letter framed. It'll be great evidence to show the judge and likely limit yourself to the $11,000 she originally asked for, if it ever gets that far. She needs to have receipts for why she's asking for $11,000, which I'm going to guess she doesn't actually have, and pulled that number from way up her ass. Unfortunately, our world has come down to the point where I recommend every single person have a simple security camera set up at their house. One that does the job well can be found for $20 to $30. And naturally, there are better setups, but a single camera to catch that hit and run on a parked vehicle, theft, etc., pays for itself very fast. Also, an unfortunate lesson I've learned: by trying to be nice, some people will take that as a sign of weakness and attempt to milk it. Ignore until court documents are served. This is also a prime time to write a few pages of everything you can recall of the event. Take any photos you can and put it all together in the event that you need supporting evidence in the future. Don't make any statements to police, etc. without an attorney. Just have the evidence in case to provide your lawyer, who should handle everything. Update. Lady wants me to pay her medical bill or she'll sue. Quick update for anyone who's interested. I was silly to worry, obviously. It was definitely a scam. Thanks for all the advice. We got a knock on the door this morning. It was the lady, and she was sporting some crutches. Apparently my shoveled path works now. She asked if we were going to pay her. I told her no, we would wait for an official letter from her lawyer and let the courts handle it. She tried to argue, saying it would be easier to just write her a check or Venmo it to her. Still told her no. So she asked for whatever was in my wallet to make her go away. I laughed, my husband laughed, we threatened to call the cops, and she decided to leave. My husband is going down to the police station right now to report this situation. We don't expect anything to come of it, but just in case she decides to do this again, they'll have a heads up. Posted by user girl named B. Titled, Planet Fitness Lied. Question for you guys. So I moved out of state, but before I left, I went into Planet Fitness to cancel my gym membership. Signed the paper and everything. I noticed like 3 months later that they still had been debiting my bank account. So I called my bank, who said they had my account/routing number and they would block future debits and refund it. A month later, I noticed that they had billed me again for the 3 months plus a fee. So I called my bank again, who said this time they used my debit card and would refund the money and open a fraud dispute, since I cancelled it and did not permit these debits. Just today, I got a notice of legal action from my bank with deposits from Planet Fitness saying that I had never cancelled my membership, and said I went to the gym on March 6th, 2020 at 12:30 p.m. and sent a picture of me walking in, dated March 6, 2020. Mind you, I've been out of state since November, and the picture showed me with very short hair, and I have had extensions since September 2019. They sent an old pic and are lying about me checking in. I have proof I was at work in a different state that day that they claim the picture was taken. I'm pretty positive it'll get figured out with the bank. But my question is, how could I let people know publicly about this fraudulent company without getting sued for slander or something? Also, could I sue them for blatantly lying? Thank you, LegalAdvice. Edit, thanks for all the responses. I absolutely have proof of all kinds on my credit card. Being at work that day in another state, everything. I didn't get a paper from the girl who did it, who seemed annoyed in the first place. But being that they now blatantly lied, and I have evidence of that, their case wouldn't stand either way. They even mailed it to my parents' house, which hasn't been my address for 7 months, and my mum was furious. I never thought to contact the Attorney General and make sure they don't get to keep doing this. Thanks all. Not a legal expert, but a former Planet Fitness employee. When you cancelled your membership, you should have gotten an email confirming the cancellation. If you did get the email, then you may use that as proof of cancellation. From seeing the billing system they use firsthand, I can certainly confirm that they are scummy with that, and it is very possible that person behind the desk did not finish / did not properly cancel your membership. Edit, You may also ask for them to print out your check-in history, as they store that on file with times and dates. The craziest thing is that they're claiming I went in there on March 6th and I was out of state at work that day, lol. So I'm not sure if they're forging some sort of record. Also, the girl at the counter was super rude, but I don't remember her name or really what she looked like besides a brunette. I did not get the email confirmation and didn't even think to look for it, which is why they wouldn't resolve anything with me when I called them and had to take it back to my bank. I know them lying automatically disproves any argument they may have, so I know I'll win. It's only $110, lol. But it's the principle of a company literally giving pictures of me from months ago and straight lying. I feel like people should be aware. Thanks for the info. I'm just an accountant. Make sure you elevate the dispute up the chain rather than dealing with the same person. There's a possibility that this could be an employee committing fraud on the company by collecting on old accounts and embezzling the difference. Not saying it's a sure thing, but getting more people involved can be a check against that. I would probably blast corporate too, just to be sure. Your debit card history could also be used to determine your location. If you swiped for gas, coffee, etc. in a different state on the same day the gym claims you were in California, take these idiots to the cleaner, OP. Contact your state attorney general about it. The last thing a business wants is the government coming after them. Bad PR is temporary. Government isn't. Thanks for that. I definitely hadn't thought of that. Yeah, the government coming after places causes all kinds of stuff, because they see that they lied about the one thing and suddenly inspectors are all over the place. Most Planet Fitnesses are franchises, so it's likely this is coming from a shady franchise owner and not the corporation themselves. I had zero issue cancelling my membership in the past. They always do this crap. In the future, make sure to send them an email as well so you can document it. It's a pretty normal thing for Planet Fitness. Keep up with your bank. It took a couple of times for us to get the charges stopped. I had something similar happen with one in Atlanta. If you regularly use your ATM card, the bank's fraud department should already have some evidence against what they're claiming, and not a lawyer. Would be the first ones to prosecute the fraud, I believe. When I finally got some sort of management at my location, they admitted the notes about closing the account were in there, but acted like it was my fault for not cancelling my membership via certified mail. Update. Planet Fitness lied. Just wanted to post an update for the fraud Planet Fitness committed. You can see the original post here. So after I received that letter with the very old photo of me with the doctored date and time and the fake check-in date and time of March 06, 2020, 12:30 p.m, I called my bank like all you directed me to do. I did really want to contact Planet Fitness directly and tell them they committed fraud and my hair hasn't looked like that for at least a year, and I haven't even been in that state since November. I decided not to, because I figured it might give them time to come up with an excuse or a rebuttal. The dispute analyst at my bank initially told me I was out of luck because the dispute was put in as fraud initially, which was technically incorrect because I signed a contract with them and gave them my bank info. He didn't realize that the photos and check-in times were fake and that they lied. So after I explained all of that with photo proof, he said it was then a fraudulent case. Also, since I made it very clear I wanted to cancel, that should have been enough to stop debiting my accounts moving forward. I sent over a letter from myself, a letter from my boyfriend who lives with me and can attest that I hadn't been to that state since November, a bank statement with charges in a different state that same day, and a letter from my boss with clock-in times showing I was at work that day and time. Needless to say, they will not be returning the money to Planet Fitness and closed the case. The bank analyst told me that they can move forward with repercussions since they are committing fraud against the bank technically, but I have already prepared a letter for the Attorney General. Hopefully, this post alone causes some people to be wary of the many fraudulent things this gym does. I have received so many messages and comments proving that this isn't an isolated event, and pretty common amongst other shady things. What should you give your money to? Thanks again for the help. Posted by user Truth Reptile, titled, Neighbor left dog at home while on holiday. Help! My neighbor has gone on holiday 4 weeks and left his dog at home. I have broken his window and taken the dog in to feed him. Will I get in trouble? Location, Sunderland, England. There is a high likelihood that there will be repercussions from you breaking and entering your neighbour's home without going through the proper channels. Did you not think to call the police for assistance first? However good your intentions were, you have no idea if they did in fact abandon the animal without having someone pop in to make sure its necessities were met. If you live in an apartment complex situation, I recommend you do your best to get in touch with the landlord and inform him of what you did. Your neighbour has every right to report you to the police, and if you can get in touch with them via the landlord first, you might be able to have the window repaired and lessen the blow that someone broke into their home and essentially stole their dog. Also keep in mind that now smashed window is an entrance point for a potential, another actually, break-in. If that happens, you're in deep, because who is to say that wasn't you? Oh dear, now you say it like that, I am worried. This isn't something you should be taking lightly. What you did is most certainly illegal and has the potential to get you in a lot of trouble. Were you on speaking terms with your neighbour? How did you know he would be on holiday for 4 weeks? OP didn't reply to that. Are you positive there wasn't a pet sitter? If there is, yeah, you'll be in trouble for breaking his window and entering his home. If there's some sort of animal control in the UK, you might want to have contacted them before breaking into your neighbour's home. OP says, I didn't see anyone come to do anything for 2 weeks. I couldn't imagine a dog surviving 2 weeks without water. Was the dog malnourished and ill when you saw it? If not, someone was almost definitely coming in and caring for it, even if you didn't see them. The bathtub was full of dirty water. Good on you for wanting to help, but are you sure he didn't hire a pet sitter or make other arrangements? r/LegalAdvice UK is probably a better bet. Neighbour left dog at home while on holiday, Part 2. This is an update as promised around my breaking and entering. You can see the first section here. Thanks all for your advice and support. You made me feel better when I was alone. I contacted the RSPCA and explained what happened. I came clean. Honesty is the best policy. They confirmed that the owner and the address is on their system as being banned from owning animals. They told me I was wrong to take the law into my hands. Even they don't have the power to break and enter, they have to call the police in for the entry part. However, they have taken the dog into their care and advised they made contact with the owner. They pushed that had I not acted in the way I did, the owner would be in deeper water as the dog could have potentially starved and died. From now there hasn't been any action against me, but let's hope this guy doesn't keep any more pets when he is banned from doing so. Location, Sunderland, UK. Posted by user Ritjui, titled, My circumcision went horribly wrong many years ago. Parents received settlement. Now I'm 18, they're refusing to give me the money. Washington. Alright, so as a result, I have part of my penis removed, including the entire tip. I know the hospital did settle with my parents. They always told me that the money is invested for my future. I'm 18 now, I want to use this for my education this year, but they haven't given me any details. They keep telling me that it is so soon and they will do it in due time. Is there any way for me to find out where this money is and access it? And was the money required to be put somewhere safe for me, or could it be that my parents spent it and are just buying time with me? Seattle, Washington. 90% of the time, when parents act shifty about something like this, the money has been gone for 10 years. I'd prepare yourself for that possibility. That's not to say your parents necessarily did anything illegal. Even in a custodial account, your parents are allowed to spend that money on things that benefit you. Education expenses, private lessons, new clothing for you, even prorated portions of their rent. They can't waste the money on fine wines and couples massages. But if they spent that money in ways that benefited you, it's not outright illegal. Your first hope at tracking it down is the IRS. If it's in an interest-bearing account in your name, then the financial provider will have to be producing 1099s in your name. Well, you just proved how crappy some of my family is. A relative of mine was beaten by another student so badly in high school that he lost 2 of his front teeth and almost lost 2 more. There was a settlement against the school for several $1,000s. The school ignored the fight and wouldn't call his parents afterwards. Instead of getting my relative necessary dental work, they spent the money to buy a truck. Sadly, I think I can top this. A friend of mine had a bitter custody dispute with ex-husband and his new wife, who was childless and desperately wanted to be a mum. They were nasty. Imagine all the bad things you've heard anecdotally about bad custody disputes. These people did it. The oldest of the two boys developed brain cancer at age 12. No way to treat it, no way to prevent it. Make-A-Wish contacted them and asked what the kid's big dream was. He wanted to go to Scottsdale, Arizona to watch the SF Giants in spring training. You can imagine what he'd get out of it all. All his heroes calling him a brave little guy, hugging him, letting him play around in the dugout. Nope. Mom said, well, that's something you'd enjoy, but don't be selfish. You should pick something that we would all do together as a family. They went for a week at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. Maybe it's just a coincidence that the new mum had a frequent players account there. Probably just a coincidence. Sure, why wouldn't a kid dream of sitting around playing video games and drinking soda while the adults got hammered and gambled? He passed about a year later, age 13. His younger brother was 11. Despite having 50% custody, my friend hasn't seen her one surviving son since. He just turned 18, so maybe there's a chance. Friend has no money and no fight left in her. Just to be clear, the mum, in quotes, the one who refused, is the stepmother, or was it the bio-mother who refused? I understood it as the stepmother at least. My dad used my mother's social security death benefit that was in my name to buy meth. Similar situation. My mum got death benefits for me after my dad died. 14 years of $700 a month checks and never bothered to save anything for me. And in regards to the original post, Magic is Might says, I'm betting that money is gone. This sadly happens a lot. I'd outright ask them if they've spent it all. Their reaction should tell you everything. I see. I'll bring this up tonight and ask for a straight answer. This is so unfair of them, as I counted on this money for my future. If I knew it doesn't exist, I would have planned differently. Depending on the type of trust, them spending it to raise you might be a legitimate use of the money. So if they have spent it, it'd come down to the terms of any trust that was set up and what it was spent on. That would dictate whether they have acted appropriately. Consult a lawyer. It is very possible that you have 1 to 3 years from the date of your 18th birthday, or sooner if emancipated, to sue anyone involved, including, but not limited to, your own parents. Your parents may be attempting to run the clock down. I'm also guessing that they have already blown the money. Every state sets their own statute of limitations. How I know? I had a childhood injury. My parents informed me of the statute of limitations. I chose not to sue anyone as I had already had a settlement that my parents did keep for me. I would have had to forfeit the settlement to proceed with litigation. Update. My circumcision went horribly wrong many years ago. Parents received settlements. Now I'm 18 and they're refusing to give me the money. This is an update to my other post. I talked to my parents. Turns out they used the money to buy the house that we live in and start the business that my dad runs. My dad showed me that I have ownership of the business as well, relative to the amount that my money was invested in. He said he will start paying me from my profits, which I will use for education. They said since I'm an only child, all of this will come to me anyway. I'm happy about all of this. I had prepared myself to hear that the money is gone, but now I feel bad for ever doubting my parents like that. Well, that was a good update, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one today. Tell me what you thought of this r/legal advice one down in the comments. If there's any legal advice you want to give these people, make sure to leave it down there too. This has been Markee. I hope you had a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.